Hello there, I am Brian Panuco and I'm recording this for the 2012 Algebra 1 Spring Video Project, okay? Today we will learn about 1-4 identity and equality properties. Our main ideas are to recognize the properties of identity and equality. We learn this to use the properties of identity and equality. Here is our new vocab. Our first word is additive identity, which means to add. Multiplicative identity, which pretty much means to multiply by 1. Multiplicative inverse. This means to switch numerator and denominator. Reciprocal. Reciprocal means to switch the number upside down. This can mean the same thing as multiplicative inverse. This can be used when you divide fractions. Multiplicative property of 0. Multiplicative property of 0 can be when you add any number times 0 equals 0. Reflexive means when a number is always equal to itself. Okay? Symmetric can be a fraction from left to right. Transitive is a key property of both partial order relations and equivalence relations. Okay? Substitution means when a quantity may be substituted for its equal in any expression. Additive inverse is a number added to its inverse will always be 0. Okay? Now we move on to some examples. Additive identity is when you add anything. An example could be 5 plus 3 equals 8, or 9 plus 1 equals 10, or 10 plus 1 equals 11. Anything like adding, okay guys? Alright. Multiplicative identity. Multiplicative identity is to multiply by 1. Here, as you see, I have 9 times 1 or 3 times 1. It could also be used in anything, pretty much. Anything simple. Here I have multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse is when you switch a numerator and denominator, which is pretty much reciprocal. Here we have 1 over 2 equals 2 over 1. And as for reciprocal, we have 3 over 4 equals 4 over 3, or 9 over 10, or over 10 over 9. Okay, same thing as you see. Multiplicative inverse and reciprocal are pretty much the same, okay? Next, we have multiplicative property of 0. Multiplicative property of 0 is 8 times 0 equals 0, 1 times 0 equals 0. That's pretty much because multiplicative property of 0 is any number times 0 equals 0. So that can mean anything times 0 equals 0, okay? That could be like a times 0 equals 0, something like that. 2 times 0 equals 0. Pretty much has the same law of anything times 0 is 0. Okay, next we have reflexive. Reflexive means it's when a number is always equal to itself. Okay, here we have 7 equals 7, or an equation could be 2 plus 3 equals 2 plus 3. We could always use 5 plus 5 equals 5 plus 5, or 5 equals 5, anything like that. Alright. Next we have symmetric. Symmetric means it's pretty much when anything is left to right. Okay? An equation could be left to right. Here we have 9 plus x equals 15, or 15 plus x equals 9. Or we could also use 10 plus 1 equals 11, or we could switch it, is 11, or which pretty much means 10 plus 1 equals 11, or 11 equals 10 plus 1, okay? Here we have transitive. Here, this is A is greater than B, and B is greater than C, then A must be greater than C. Okay? As you see, A is greater than B, and B is greater than C, then A must be greater than C. Okay, here we have substitution. Substitution is when a quantity may be substituted for its equal in any expression. Here we have B equals 3 and C equals 18. Here we have 5B minus 2C plus C over B. As you see, we can substitute 5 times 3 when I substituted B times 3, as you see, and it's minus 2C plus C. So here we substitute C into 18. So we substitute 18 into C, then we would have 2 times 18, okay? And then we have plus C, which would be plus 18, but since here we have over B, it would be 18 over 3, okay? We can use this in any expression or an equation, anything like that. These are most likely mystery numbers, something like that. Okay, guys? There are many other examples. You will learn this farther into algebra. You will need stuff like this. Okay? And next, we have, last but not least, additive inverse. Additive inverse could be 5 plus negative 5 equals 0. Okay? Here, as you see, 5 plus negative 5 is 0. That's because additive inverse is a number added to its inverse will always be 0. As an example, we could have 6 plus negative 6 is 0. Anything like that. 7 plus negative 7 is 0. As you see, inverse could probably be like, it pretty much means the positive of that. Okay? Here let's just have a recap. Additive identity could be to add. Multiplicative identity could be to multiply by 1. Multiplicative inverse is switch numerator and denominator. Don't forget that. Reciprocal could be switch the number upside down. And multiplicative property of 0 could be any number times 0 is 0. Next we have reflexive. Just remember, reflexive is always equals to itself, alright? 7 equals 7. That's pretty much it. Like 2 plus 3 equals 2 plus 3. Something like that. Alright? And here we have symmetric. Alright? Symmetric means left to right. Alright, guys? Like here in symmetric we have